What's up, everybody? How you doing? I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. I've wanted to make this video for a very, very long time, but every time I would sit down to make it, I just got pulled aside to do something else and just wasn't able to do it. But here I am, finally making this video. As you could probably conclude from the title, what I'm going to be talking about today is how having creative outlets can be very therapeutic for you. Now, disclaimer, before I get started, while I do have experience working in mental health, I am not a licensed therapist, I'm not a licensed psychologist. I'm not trying to tell you that this is a cure for depression, it's a cure for anxiety. I'm not trying to override what your doctor or therapist has told you, and I am certainly not encouraging you to give up any type of psychotropic medication that you may already be taking. So just want to put that out there because I don't want to be responsible for anybody's mental health, because I'm barely responsible for my own. If you like these kind of videos, these music chat kind of videos, make sure you give this a thumbs up. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, if you want to share a personal experience, just leave it in the comments below. And as always, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any more videos. I will have some music coming up very, very shortly. So I hope you enjoy this. Thank you guys for watching. So I personally believe that inside all of us, I don't care if you are 6 or 106, I don't care if you're black, white, purple, polka dotted, gay, straight, Christian, atheist, I don't care. I think all of us have the ability to be creative, and I would even go as far to say as we all have the desire to be creative. It's just some of us don't always tap into that. I think there are a lot of reasons that a lot of people don't tap into their own creativity. First of all, being creative requires that you kind of be in touch with your own emotions, and a lot of people don't like to do that. A lot of people like to take their emotions and go squish, 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 down you go. And you can't be creative when you're suppressing emotion. I think another reason people don't tap into their own creativity is lack of imagination, especially as we get older and we get caught up in the hustle and bustle of American adult living. You kind of lose that sense of whimsy. You know, you get up, you go to work, take the kids to school, take them to soccer practice, cook dinner, pay your bills, and go to bed and start all over again the next day. Life as an adult isn't always whimsical, and when we lose that, sometimes we lose our imagination. And when we lose our imagination, sometimes we aren't, we're not able to be creative, or we don't have the desire to be creative, and sometimes we even think of it as silly. So for a lot of people, they don't ever want to be creative because they're afraid of failing. I know for me personally, a couple months ago, I was invited to like one of those painting parties, and all the proceeds from the party were going to Autism Speaks, the chapter in our area, and I was like so afraid to go. I'm like, oh my god, my painting is going to suck, and people are going to laugh at me, and I'm like, you know what, it's a fundraiser, like what am I so afraid of? And I went, and I painted, and it wasn't great, but I did it. I think another reason people don't always like to express their own creativity is fear of rejection. You know, if you do go to something like a painting party, or you put artwork up on a blog, or you write on a blog, or you have a YouTube channel where you're sharing music, anything like that, there are going to be people that criticize you. Now, I still have a very, very small YouTube channel. I don't have a lot of people coming and criticizing me, but if my channel grows, there are going to be people that comment on my music videos and are like, boo bitch, you suck. And you do have to be ready for that, but a lot of people are really afraid of, you know, criticism or rejection, so they just don't put themselves out there at all. Big reason why I think a lot of people don't tap into their own creativity is because they believe that being creative means that you either play an instrument or you draw. They think that creativity is limited to art and music, and believe me, it's not. There are so many ways that you can express your creativity outside of art and music. When I say art, I mean like painting, drawing, things like that. I've actually come up with a list. I've come up with a list of ways you can be creative outside of just art and music. Dance, writing, web design, graphic design, cooking, baking, gardening, potting, sculpting, acting, blogging, vlogging, hair, makeup, nail art, sewing, knitting, crocheting, crafting and DIY, interior design, photography, scrapbooking, and reading. I will argue that reading is a really great way to be creative because it does require Did you use your imagination? And essentially that's what creativity is, engaging your imagination. So, I mean, you're not actually producing something, but you are at least getting the imagination juices flowing, you know. So getting into what I really want to talk about today, some of the more therapeutic benefits of being a more creative person. Number one, when you are using a creative outlet, you're forcing yourself to focus. Let's say, you are just having like the most crap lousy day ever. You had a bad day at work, your boss yelled at you, a customer yelled at you, drove home and, you got a flat tire and it's raining and your dog shit on the floor and you put a red sock in with your white laundry and turned all your white laundry pink and, you're just having a crap lousy day. And your stress level is like right about here. When you sit and you stew in that, that's all you're focused on is your negative emotion. But when you use a creative outlet, you are focusing all your thoughts on something positive instead of something negative. Number two, using creative outlets oftentimes gives people a voice that they never knew they had. There are a lot of people that really haven't figured out how to articulate how they're feeling. You can have people that are sitting there like bawling or, they're screaming and lashing out, and you ask them like, hey man, what's wrong? And they're like, I don't know. Not everybody knows how to express how they're feeling. And a lot of times through, writing or music or dance or art, whatever, a lot of times we can find a way to express how we're feeling without actually saying it. And it's really kind of cool. Number three, creative outlets channel raw emotion into something. When we hit those emotional highs, we're super anxious, we're super stressed out, we're super angry or frustrated, whatever, wherever we are, oftentimes that raw negative emotion, it just sits on us, like almost like a weight. And a lot of times we can channel that into something, and a lot of times we can take that negative emotion and put it somewhere else. And I know I have done that with music a lot. Like I have all this raw emotion and I channel it into music, and I'm like, okay, so now everything crappy that I was feeling, it's in that music now, and it takes a little bit of that weight off of you. Number four, using creative vices will often prevent you from using more harmful vices. Plain and simple, if you are singing or playing the piano or drawing or sculpting or whatever you're doing, you're not using drugs, you're not drinking, you're not smoking. And I know for me, I will sit there and chain smoke when I get stressed out. It's really bad. Like I will just like burn through a pack of cigarettes in no time. But if I'm sitting there playing my guitar and I'm writing, I'm not chain smoking, which is bad for me. Number five, using creative outlets, I would say it will actually lift your self-esteem. At the end of the day, our self-esteem comes from our accomplishments. Like you can sit there and tell somebody until you're blue in the face, like, oh, you're so awesome, like don't be stressed out, man, like you're the best. You can tell them that all day long, but like I said, our sense of self-esteem comes from accomplishments. And when we can see something that we've created, I think it makes us feel a whole lot better about us. And I know I mentioned the painting party I went to. On my wall is the picture that I painted. And every time I walk by it, I'm like, you know what? I did that. I made that. Go me. When you create things, I think it does make you feel a lot better about yourself. And the last one. The last reason I think that art and music and dance and all that kind of stuff can be very healing is I personally believe it will boost your serotonin level. Now, a lot of people will agree with that. It's one of those things where it's serotonin and